What's good, everybody? It's your boy Elevated Chillz back again with another scary story for you. This scary story is titled The Horse. A New Horse is a scary story for kids. It is based on a folktale called Bridling the Witch, from Up Cutchin and Down Greasy by Leonard Roberts. A version of this story has appeared in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. There were two young men who worked together on a farm. They also shared a room. One slept at the back and the other slept near the door. As time went on, the young man who slept near the door began to look pale, thin, and very sickly. He was always extremely tired and was barely able to do his work. His friend asked what was wrong. "If you went through what I go through every night, you'd look bad too," he insisted. "A witch turns me into a horse and rides me all over the countryside at night." "Let me sleep in your bed tonight," said his friend. "Then we'll see what really happens." That night, the friend lay down in bed near the door and went to sleep. Around midnight, an old woman came into the room. She stood over the friend and mumbled some strange words over him. His eyes were open, but he couldn't move a muscle. Then she slipped a bridle on him, and before he knew what was happening, she had turned him into a horse. The next thing he knew was she was riding him across the fields at breakneck speed, beating and whipping him to make him go faster and faster. Soon, they came to an old house where there was a party going on. There was a lot of music and dancing, and everyone seemed to be having a jolly old time. The old woman hitched him to a fence and went inside. While she was gone, the farmhand rubbed against the fence until finally the bridle came off and he turned back into a human being. Then he grabbed the bridle and went into the house. When he found the old witch, he spoke those same strange words over her that she had said over him once before. He slipped the bridle over her and turned her into a horse. Then he jumped on her back and rode off into the sunset on her. He rode her to a blacksmith and he had her fitted for horseshoes. After that, he rode her to the farm where she lived with her husband. "I have a pretty good horse here," he told her husband, "but I need a stronger one. Would you like to trade?" The old man looked over at her and agreed to the trade, so they picked out another horse, and the farmhand rode away. Her husband led his new horse to the barn. He took the bridle off and went to hang it up, but when he came back, the new horse was gone. Instead, there stood his wife with horseshoes nailed to her hands and feet. He took his gun and shot her brains out, and that was the last anyone saw of the witch.